really good story that you told about yourself and how you came back from a very low point in your life. And I want to slow down and just kind of go back and dig more into how you actually stumbled across that inflection point or that change in your mindset where you said you actually stumbled across Napoleon Hill and success strategies and building mindset and why that all matters. So I really want to kind of just get into, do you just come across like something in your basement or how did you come across that?
Yeah, and like, unfortunately, it's not really a positive kind of like, answer here, but this is really what happened. So like I was kind of at that lost moment, right? And I was dealing with those suicidal thoughts. And I talk about this more and more as, the recession and inflation's hit. And I start to see this pop up in people around me that I know. And I want people to understand that this is not something that lasts. It's a transitionary window. It goes away, but it's kind of, you don't know that when you're in that fire or in that storm, right? And I didn't realize what was going on to me because I'd always been a happy person and I always had a great life, and I never really had depression for the most part, more than like what most people would have. But I was really struggling at this time, as you can imagine. I lost my identity for 10 years almost. I was like a high stakes poker player, and no longer I'm not. The industry is gone. All my friends are gone, and it was just a very tough time. And so literally, I was trying to figure out how to deal with my mental issues that I was struggling with. And I went on the internet and basically was like, how do I stop or fight this? How do I fight these thoughts? And basically, the first thing that popped up was one of the original recordings that Napoleon had done, in his black and white recordings from his success principles, right? And I just stumbled across it, and something resonated with me with his message because he was no longer living. I don't know why, but because he was already passed away, and this was from a generation past, and the things that he was saying resonated to what creates success today and also in the past before. What I realized was what he's talking about is not generational. It transcends generations. And many things that we learn now, as far as what we're studying, is on things that work today, right? Funnels, social media, certain things like that, right? But what Napoleon is talking about was overall life principles, meaning the things that people do to become successful that have nothing to do with time, meaning if they worked 1,000 years ago, they're going to work 1,000 years from now in the future. And that really hit hard. And I started to go down the story, and I found out, that the story of him, interviewing Andrew Carnegie and basically building that relationship and having the relationships with all these top industrial leaders and the big entrepreneurs of the world. And it just kind of led me down this, path of progression. So just like when you haven't worked out in a while, it's easy to create gains, right? And you can see your body change quickly. So if like you let yourself go and you put on 100 pounds, well, guess what? When you start working out, it's a lot easier to take off 10 pounds than it is if you've been working out for 2 years and don't have that much to lose. And so I think that I've been so neglecting my mindset and neglecting, feeding my mind in any way. And I've been so neglected from the world, I guess you could say, on like the right information I needed. Once I came across what I knew was right, it felt right inside. And I just started consuming the information. And so I was one that didn't study a lot in college and in high school, didn't read books, didn't care about the education. But when it came to my self-education and what I needed to do to build myself and build a business, I became addicted to self-development, which happens to people commonly, right? And it was the progression of going through all the information and applying it into my life and seeing results of it that kept making me go back and finding new mentors and new people to follow. And then I started realizing that there's this whole world that people live in, which is the ability of improving yourself, the chase for excellence, right? Physically, spiritually, mentally, relationship wise, to be the best we can be. Unfortunately, what happened to the world? It's like people want to just try to participate and try to float through the world and not try to be good, not try to care about their future, not try to care about, their family or their country or anything like this. And I think it's the wrong direction for the world to go. This is not a participation event, it's a competition. And if you don't understand that, you're going to get crushed, because if you don't know you're playing a game against people that are playing it at a high level, how's that going to end up for you? So I think right now what people need to understand is your future is dictated by your chase for being excellent in every area of your life. If you want an exceptional life and an excellent life, you need to do things in a way that you're treating each part of your life as not a hobby, but as a serious profession and being excellent at it. So you should be breaking down each area of your life and having a goal to be the best you can be in everything you can. And that pursuit of being the best you can be leads you to the results that you've always wanted, which are those goals and dreams that you had as a little child that God put into your mind that you always wanted, that you can now have in the future, that you forgot you could have because you're telling yourself that you can't do it. But I want to tell you that you can, because I know you can, because if I could do it when I was spiritually bankrupt, emotionally bankrupt, physically bankrupt, and every single way I was bankrupt, if I can turn my life around and become me now, which you guys see me now, you wouldn't even recognize me a decade ago. You wouldn't even have known this person, right? And I want you to recreate your future you as who you want that person to be, because you can create the exact person you want to become. But the first step is being aware that you can do that through your thought processes.